let's talk a little bit about your framework for the university course that you've created as part of your PhD research. So you created the framework for a university course at Vrije University in Amsterdam, and it's called Knowing by Sensing. And can you tell our audience about what the course is about and what is taught in the course?
Sure, absolutely. And I thought of this term knowing by sensing because there's already quite a large movement called knowing by doing, meaning as a historian, as an anthropologist, as whatever you study, you don't just read, but you actually recreate. You find a recipe for a certain paint by Rembrandt. You want to understand how it really worked. Then you recreate that paint and you start painting with that paint. But the one thing I thought was still missing was knowing by sensing. So instead of recreating a bell, historical bell, I would also want to recreate the sound and then try to learn something from that sound. And in this course, we learn about all the senses: smell, taste, touch, seeing, hearing, also proprioception, our inner senses, synesthesia. We learn about it and we learn through those senses, while also maintaining the awareness that, of course, we can never experience what someone in the past experienced smelling that same scent. That doesn't mean that it's not informative. And I find that so important because it's often dismissed. Sensing is dismissed as subjective, not informative, too emotional. Yes, smell can be very emotional, and music and touch can be very emotional, but beyond the emotions or memories, associations that a sensory impression evokes, one can also try to analyze those impressions on a more analytical level. I can say, when I smell myrrh, I can say, it smells, I don't like the smell, hedonic evaluation. And one could say, it reminds me of my grandmother. But one could also say, hey, I can smell this from really far away. It has a very large volume. It's very strong. Or, hey, it actually smells warm, trigeminally warm. That's transhistorical, that myrrh smells warm. That's not cultural. So look beyond those idiosyncratic personal associations and see if you can find characteristics of those smells and read at the same time. I don't say stop reading. I say read, sense, use as many strings of information as possible and see if you can get extra information from experiencing and reading.
Yeah. And my next question is, why is it important for students to learn through all their senses? But I wanted to say first that I met Caro because I took her class, Knowing by Sensing, and it definitely left a huge impact on me and my life. And after I took the class, or while I was taking the class, I was like, this is amazing. This is also so important, because as someone that doesn't learn best by just reading lots of texts or taking tests or sitting in classrooms and just listening, I always had a hard time with that since I was very young, just learning through that. So taking this class, I thought, my God, this is revolutionary for me, just to sit through a class and learn in this way of not only, like you say, you read, but not only doing that, but then putting it into a movement or into a practice, and learning through those processes is so amazing, and you learn so much. And that was what really I was always very much impacted by this. And I still remember a lot of your course as well, which I think is, very important to say, right? That I still remember like something from each class that we did. And this was, I think, 3.5 years ago that I took your course now. So yeah.
Wow, amazing. And may I also add to the dear listeners that Sofia was one of the best students of the entire course over the past years, from the beginning till the end. and most enthusiastic. I also remember you are so enthusiastic and asking many questions. And what you say here is essential, because indeed, not only does it inform you, sensing can inform you, but it also caters to different learning styles, just like you said. Some people are learn better when they move. Some learn more when they see something, others when they feel something. So in this way, every learning style is catered to. And the more, this is also scientifically proven, the more senses you trigger, the more likely you are to remember something, because there are more pathways in your brain at work, more entrances, more doors and windows are opening to lead to that one insight that you gain. So I think that's also a very important point. And I feel, well, I'm so happy that it did this to you, because that's exactly what we were aiming for, what we hoped.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still, I mean, one of the most fun, but also informative classes I've taken. And it's just, I think it's so important to keep going. So make sure you keep teaching it.
Thanks. Hey, and what was it that you remember? What was the most fun, most memorable element in the course? Because we did a lot of
Yeah. Well, for some reason, even though I'm in smell now, of course, with Odoropa and always working with smells and smell projects, but I always remember playing that organ together with everyone, because I think we were 5 people, and we were able to play this instrument all together, which I thought was very moving, and like a moment to have with others, and also just fun to be able to see and use an object in its original form, because usually you're just listening to it, right? But we actually went inside an organ as well, right?
yeah.
Inside the instrument, and we could listen to it being played while we were inside the actual structure. So that's something I really remember.
Yeah, funnily, me too. It's also the highlight when I think of the course. It's also a highlight for me. And I think because during that session, indeed, you need to use your whole body to play that instrument. The valves, you need to pull them. We're all moving, it's teamwork, we're listening, we're looking. And Hans Vidom, he's the professor who teaches listening at Vrije Universiteit. And he also made us walk around and see how it influenced how the sounds evolved, and if they were different in different parts of the space. It was so mindful.
It's really, really fun. I enjoyed that a lot.